Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to tonight's News Focus, live and direct from our studios here on the 10th Avenue Extension, Great Estate, Nongwa, Adugono. I want to say a big thank you for taking time to stay with us. So grateful for having you to be with us from now to exactly 10 p.m. when we make way for the next set of programs to take control, where Zoe Moment will be up next, right after I'm done with the News Focus. The News Focus, we channel our energies to look at all the latest stories that has happened throughout the day, unravels the wrong from the right, and also to acquaint ourselves with all the latest happening from the world of news and its entertainment. So those are the basic things we look at, and then right after that, we channel back into the studios, give you the opportunity to also call us and tell us exactly what you think and how you feel about the way things are going. And then right after that, we say a goodbye. We shake that hand of departure and say goodbye to ourselves. The numbers you can also contribute to tonight's program is 053 715 8638. 053 715 8638 is the numbers where you can also join us to have this tete-a-tete together in tonight's News Focus. Either you join us via WhatsApp or you join us via SMS. So I want to say a very good evening. Here is tonight's News Focus. The brief of the stories. Tonight, we examine major developments shaping the politics, the governance, the economy, and the national security in Ghana. The former Deputy Finance Minister, DR.STEPHEN Amoaah, is defending the NPP economic management record after Ghana's exit from the IMF. Whilst government supporters point to economic stabilization and recovery, critics insist the cost of living burden remains severe for many citizens. We also bring updates on the detention of the Ashanti Akim North MP in the Netherlands as Roxanne Nelson, the Fiameco, provides details on the ongoing situation and its possible political and diplomatic implication. In the mining sector, Impraiso NP is calling for Ghana to take strong ownership of its mining resources, particularly goldfields operations, reigniting debate over resource control and national economic benefits. On the environment front, NADMO has launched a renewed crackdown on illegal sand winning aimed at worsening coastal erosion affecting vulnerable communities along Ghana's coastline. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is also defending his infrastructure agenda, highlighting what he described as the largest number of roads contracts awarded in recent times as part of efforts to improve national connectivity and development. And politically, Salam Mustafa is warning government against alleged intimidation of NPP members, a development that could heighten political tension and spark renewed debate over democratic freedoms and political tolerance. Stay with us for analysis, reactions, and in-depth discussions on these stories and more tonight on News Focus. My name once again is L. Samuels, and then we'll get the ball rolling. So this has been always your trusted platform for depth, clarity, and accountability in the stories shaping Ghana tonight. Like I said, from the economy to governance, natural resources, and environmental protection, tonight's program goes beyond the headlines. We examine what this development truly means for the nation. So those are the stuff we're going to look at in tonight's edition of The Focus. We also follow development surrounding the detention of the Ashanti Akim Member of Parliament. So to set the ball rolling, let's quickly run through some of the day's stories that has really touched base with our viewers across the country. that we give you the opportunity to also word in and share your thoughts with us on 053 715 8638 053 715 8368. Rent control orders hostel owners to suspend 2026-2027 fee increases. The Rent Control Department of Ghana has directed all private hostel owners, facility managers and operators and stakeholders in the student accommodation sector to suspend any planned increase in hostel fees. GSA shut down Ashima China Mall warehouse over alleged substandard materials. Now, the Ghana Standards Board, the Ghana Standards Authority has closed down sections of the Ashima China Mall warehouse containing products such as mattresses and electrical appliances suspected to be made with substandard materials. The closure forms part of the authority's second day of operations aimed at clamping down on companies producing and distributing inferior products on the Ghanaian market. NPP petitioned diplomatic corps to monitor Ghana's human rights. The opposition New Patriotic Party has appealed to the diplomatic community and international partners to closely monitor what it described as deteriorating human rights and democratic governance situation in Ghana. The appeal was made during the presentation of a petition to Her Excellency Imani Odell, the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to Ghana and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in Ghana. These are some of the stories. NDC demands parliamentary probe into Afenyo Markin's attack on judges. Minority backs Afenyo Markins over controversial judge remarks. Supreme Court clears CSOs to join suit challenging OSP prosecutionary powers. And then the family of a slain Aplau Momo vendor demands swift prosecution of suspects. These are some of the stories making headlines. Now let's go into the major clampdown with our first major story this evening. Dr. Stephen Amoaah defends NPP's economic management record as Ghana exits the IMF. And this is what Dr. Stephen Amoaah is saying. Dr. Stephen Amoaah, the former Deputy Finance Minister, is defending the New Patriotic Party, the opposition New Patriotic Party, economic management record following Ghana's exit from the IMF program. Supporters say the country is showing signs of recovery and stability, but many Ghanaians continue to battle high living costs, unemployment pressure on household income. We ask tonight, has Ghana fully recovered, or are citizens yet to feel the impact? That is the question I'm asking tonight. And that's the question MBN is asking, that has Ghana truly recovered, or are citizens yet to feel the impact? Let's take a listen to the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Stephen Amoaah.
I think we need to build a preamble or the premise very well. You cannot just jump somebody who led us there. We didn't go there by choice, just like, choice as in a decision, yes, but we didn't just sit there and say we're going there. Global economy ran us down because we depend on the global economy. At that time, the world grew negative 3.3. Go and check. The world grew negative 3. Even Ghana grew 0.4 or 5. It means we did well. Just check. The world grew negative 3.3. Our economy is import driven. So sometimes, let's be honest with ourselves. When in the history of this country did we ask public and civil servants to stay home, but they were paid? There was impaired market productivity. What it meant was that our GDP was not growing. Private sector sacked over 40,000 people. Payee corporate taxes. We had revenue shortfall of almost 12 billion. So we had to rely on debt financing. Our debt GDP went almost 90%. But because we are good managers of the economy, by December 2024, our GDP had grown or was growing 5.6, even higher than 2016. Primary balance, even inflation rate, have been reduced from 54.1 to 22.9. So the economy had been fully restored. But then its impact on us, because we run what I describe as defensive market economy. There's always a very large period when it comes to impact of economic performance and then our market activity. It takes a long time because SMEs occupy about 90% or 80% of our market economy. And there, because I'm the systematic risk index, it's far less than 1. So it's defensive sector. If our economy or market had been the aggressive sector like the developed economies, I'm sure Ghanaian probably might have voted for us because the impact hadn't been felt by Ghanaians. Okay. But the economy had been restored. And that restoration and the performance is still what we are feeling because it started going down. Even today, we have problems. Today, that we are getting fiscal independence as a result of IMF approval. But don't forget, we had first, second staff executive level approvals. What it meant was that we had already positioned this country very well in terms of fiscal discipline, in terms of fiscal consolidation and restoration. We had done that. So don't forget, we started and doing all those things, and we went out of power. What I understand is that in terms of sometimes mismanagement, the way we manage expenditures, I mean, in our country, not because of NPP and NDC, I mean, for about 30, 40 years, we are import-driven economy. There are certain things that we have them as a matter of our own cultural problems and practices. They are there, I agree. But the severity that actually drove us to IMF, it was the COVID and was the Ukraine-Russian war. Because first 3 years, we're growing averagely 7%.
My follow-up question.
We are growing inflation rate averagely 7%. Our reserve, everything. We are running one of the most enviable pro-poor policies as a result of prudent economic management. So we're doing well.
All right. So we started with the economy. We started with the economy where the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Stephen Amoaah, is strongly defending the New Patriotic Party's economic management record, insisting Ghana's exit from the IMF program is a proof of resilience and recovery. But critics argue that the bigger question remains: has the recovery translated into real relief for the ordinary citizens, or is the pressure still being felt on the ground? That is a question being asked. And you can also share your thoughts with us on this on 0537 158638. 0537 158368. Now, away from the economy, we also turn to the international, legal, and diplomatic development. And that is the next call we're going to do, where the minority chief whip, Kwame Govins Agboja, the Fiameco, has given fresh updates on the detention of the Ashanti Akem North MP in the Netherlands. The case is raising concerns about parliamentary diplomacy, legal process abroad, the image of Ghanaian lawmakers on the global stage. Don't forget, we did have in the ex-war administration, but during Kufuor's era, we had an MP that has to be jailed because of drug issues. So there are things that has really happened in the country. So it tells you the legal process abroad, the image of Ghanaian lawmakers on the global stage. So that is where we're turning our attention to. Now let's go to take a watch of the majority chief whip and also a member of parliament for now in the person of the Fiameco.
I was the first person he called and told me about the issue. So quickly, I had to also refer the issue to my principals. So eventually, I got my leader, who was himself on transit at Heathrow in London. So he had to fly to Schiphol to go and engage him for about 2 or 3 hours to understand the issues. Since then, we have brought in the foreign minister, we brought in our ambassador to Hague, we brought in the attorney general because he has to deal with some legal issues in terms of the Statute of Rome because he's traveling on a diplomatic passport. Speaker himself has been brought in, clerk. So we've coordinated this matter very well. We have a lawyer for him now. The lawyer is a Ghanaian based in The Hague, but he qualified in Hague, so he practices there. And so he's dealing with the issues. But let me confirm that he's fine. We engaged yesterday. Today, I had further engagement with the lawyers. This matter broke on Sunday morning. So it's, I believe that it was yesterday that it became news in Ghana, but the arrest actually happened on Sunday when he was on transit from Accra on KLM through Schiphol to London. It's a private trip, I must say, but he's traveling on a diplomatic passport. So that's why the Parliament is so concerned in dealing with the issues. But we want to urge all the media houses to not to be throwing in things that haven't been confirmed, because even the warrant for his arrest, we are yet to have the authenticated copy. The prosecutor that has been appointed in Amsterdam dealing with the matter with the lawyer is yet to give those necessary documents to the lawyer and for our consideration. So let's stay calm and don't let us jeopardize the issues. We are doing everything possible to see how best the matter can be resolved. As for extradition, it has even happened to sitting presidents of countries. Every lawyer of some repute knows this in international law, in conflict of law causes. You must have heard of the Pinochet cases. A sitting president came to London and he was arrested that he should be extradited to the US. You must have heard of the Julian Assange cases. So these things happen. In our case, in this matter, we are praying that the grounds are such that we can deal with the issues so that he can return home. So we want the family, our colleagues in Parliament, everybody to remain calm whilst we deal with the matter.
And so you heard the Member of Parliament and also the Majority Chief Whip at the Fiamepo are speaking to us with regards to the Asante Akim MP who has been picked up, bringing us update on it. Remember, in the next 48 hours, he will appear in the court, and that is one of the things that's so away from there, but still with issues that has to do with parliamentary seating in the mining sector. The Impriso MP is sounding a strong warning, insisting Ghana must take full ownership and control of its own mineral wealth, especially goldfields operation. The debate goes to the heart of resource nationalism, royalties, and whether Ghana is truly maximizing benefit from its natural resources. So we move back to a Member of Parliament. This time we go to Impriso.
I think first of all, we need to appreciate that Ghana as a country in the last 40 years has been to the IMF 17 times. I mean, what this tells us is one thing. I mean, Ghana is rich in resources, but very poor in our value retention. And I mean, we cannot keep on exporting gold and importing a ship. And that is why, for me, it's important for us to have this conversation. Last year, Goldfields reportedly, I mean, made some 547 million in profit from Ghana. Yet many mining communities still lack development. And if you have been to Takwa, if you've been to been to Obuasi and everything, you clearly would see that these communities really lack the necessary amenities for them to survive, especially in the mining environment, like what they see themselves. So after nearly 30 years of mining, I mean, so people are asking, what exactly has changed? I mean, in terms of the ordinary citizen in the mining area. And so for me, it's important that these state assets revert to Ghana. And what we are saying is that, I mean, if the state do not find any credible mining company worthy, the state should own these mines. If you were to go to South Africa, you realize that the state in South Africa, despite private people owning mines, is able to operate a mining on its own. Today, what Gofields is doing in our country is quite simple. I mean, when it comes to the operations, the operations of the mine, they have given it to indigenous Ghanaian companies. And all they do is that when it gets to the ore bit, they are able to come for it, now get it into a gold, and they export it and sell. And so just put your mind to it. Last year, Goldfields made over $547 million of profit in Ghana. That money, if the company or Ghana whatever, as a corporate institution owns the mine, that $547 million will be staying in our country. I mean, for instance, we need to ensure that workers in the mining sector are catered for. I mean, there has to be some standards that will be set. I mean, I've received some complaints from people here and there. We need to ensure that workers are taken care of because it's a high risk environment, and their safety and their welfare, their well-being should be a concern to these companies who will be taken over from the foreign entities. Two, we need to also ensure that the state is not just getting that 5, 10, or 15% of what they call royalties anymore. I mean, the state should own these firms, make sure that the gold sits with them, so that, I mean, we would determine how these funds are used. I mean, we need money to develop Ghana. We need money to construct more roads. We need money to build hospitals.
You know, yeah.
$547 million cannot just be carried away from our country to a different state. We are not doing what the South Africans are doing. Today, if you go to South Africa, Ghanaian firms, Ghanaian companies are being closed down. Legitimate Ghanaian companies are being closed down. These are companies that came to us. They wanted concession for 30 years. We gave them, I mean, for instance, Goldfields came in with some $3 million investment. Today, I can tell you, they've made over $16 billion from Ghana. I mean, in what is it that we have gotten? So it is not as if we are taking their mines from them. No. What we are doing is that you requested for 30 years. In our reverse, to want us to renew it. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, so 30 years ago, we didn't really have indigenous Ghanaian firms who could operate these mines.
So the Member of Parliament for Impriso, David Opoko, calling that Ghana must own its own mine. I don't know whether you agree with him or not. You can share your thought on 053-715-8638 via WhatsApp, or you can give us a call and on it. Meanwhile, the former Information Minister Kojo Oppor Nkrumah is pushing back against claims that Ghana has exited the IMF program, insisting the country remains under an economic arrangement through the newly introduced Policy Coordination Instrument, PCI. According to him, the PCI represents a fresh 3-year engagement with the International Monetary Fund focused on policy monitoring, fiscal discipline, and economic reforms, not a complete departure from the IMF oversight. His comment comes amidst growing political debate about the state of Ghana's economy, with the NPP defending its economic recovery record, whilst critics question whether the country has fully regained full financial independence. The development is expected to intensify national conversation over debt sustainability, economic credibility, and Ghana's long-term recovery path. Away from that story, where the Member of Parliament for Afwashi Ayurubi is pushing that Ghana has not fully exited the IMF, but we are under a PCI. It takes us to another story, where another national story that has become one of a thorny in the skin of every Ghanaian, which is also drawing some circles from the political circles as well, has to do with Abroye. The private legal practitioner Martin Pebu says detention must never deprive an individual access to proper medical care, following concerns surrounding the condition and treatment of the NPP Bono Regional Chair Kwame Boafo Abroye. According to Pebu, the right of detainees remains protected under Ghana's law and international human rights principles, regardless of the nature of the investigation or allegation against them. The comment comes amidst growing political reaction from Abronya DC's detention, with supporters of the opposition NPP accusing authorities of political intimidation, whilst government defenders insist due process must be allowed to take its course. The development is likely to deepen debate over human rights protection and political tension, the handling of high-profile cases in Ghana's justice system. Now let's move away from that story and go straight to look at the other stories that are making wave. Remember, we've done 3 of the major concerns. We move to the we begin with the economy. We turn our attention to the international, legal, and diplomatic development, where we got some explanation. Then we continue to the empire. So now let's move straight on the environment, where on the environmental front, NADMO is intensifying a crackdown on illegal sand winning along the coasts. And this comes as the coastal communities faces worsening erosion threats, with homes, livelihoods, and also infrastructure increasingly at risk. The question tonight, is enforcement enough? Now the question, is enforcement enough? Or is this an environmental crisis already beyond control? I've said it time and time again, that sometimes we wait till things go weird. NADMO cracks down on illegal sand winning when the coastal community faces erosion threat. Let's take a watch and listen to NADMO.
Sand winning in its entirety is not a bad thing. After all, we depend on its usage for several purposes. But what we are worried about is the illegal sand winning and the unregulated sand winning. Central region, as I've indicated to you earlier on, we have the longest coastal region in the country. Out of the 4 coastal regions, Volta, Greater Accra, Western Central, we have the longest coastal stretch. And of course, issues of sand winning, illegal sand winning along the coast is something that we at NADMO Central and our district directorate have been dealing with, because we have identified it as a potential hazard that can serve as a contributory factor to major disasters, including the climate-induced tidal waves at Murray that we are managing currently. So fortunately for us, the various district disaster management committees are up to the task. They have various task forces in place, including NADMO personnel, police, national security, Environmental Protection Authority, Minerals Commission officers who have been moving into the illegal sand winning areas from time to time, and as all aimed at engendering the necessary attitudinal change from the stakeholders within that enclave. Gradually, we are making a headway in the fight against illegal sand winning, but it is a minute in itself. Sand winning is classified as a form of mining, and all mining-related issues that has the tendency to bring about disaster risk issues are something that we at NADMO Central have taken a keen interest in. So from time to time, we deployed our operational teams to the areas to embark on education, embark on risk reduction issues, and sometimes to embark on compliance activities together with the relevant institutions.
So which areas are considered to be the hotspots?
The hotspots in the central region along the coast are Gomuafete in the Gomuais district, Mori, where we are now, in the AAK district, and Brenu Achim in the Commander Edna Egua Abrim district. And with the kind of leadership in place now, in line with the reset agenda, a lot is being done, and we believe we will achieve the necessary milestone within the shortest possible time, in line with our set objectives. Yesterday, the regional minister, who is the chairman for the Regional Disaster Management Committee, assisted us. When I say us, I mean we at NADMO, with the necessary excavators needed to excavate the blocked channels. So as at 5 a.m. this morning, the situation has been brought under control. We have restored the situation to normalcy. Vehicles are moving. There's free flow of traffic, and we thank all stakeholders who assisted accordingly. But the issues that brought about that disaster is something that we are going to look at it carefully, especially who at the Fatima Municipal Assembly gave that development.
And so we went to Moree. I brought you the insert from Moree about NADMO crackdown on sun winning. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has urged Ghanaians to remain calm but vigilant following the declaration of the recent Ebola viral disease outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern by the World Health Organization over fears of cross-border transmission. Away from the Ebola story, which is a health risk, we all have to be very, very careful. Ghana's debt hits 674.1 billion as of February 2026. Ghana's public debt stock increased to 674.1 billion as of February 2026. This is equivalent to 42.2% of gross domestic product, GDP. In dollar terms, the public debt stood at $663.1 billion US dollars. According to the Bank of Ghana's May 2026 summary of economic and financial data, the country's debt stood at 61.3 billion, that's 64.1 billion Ghana cedis in December 2025, and 60.6 billion in US dollars in January 2026. So this is the latest from the economic front. Now let's move straight away from the NADMO. We go closer. We also examine the President John Dramani Mahama's claim that his administration has awarded the largest number of road contracts in recent history, a move government says will accelerate infrastructure growth and regional connectivity. But questions remains over funding, execution, and transparency. Let's take a listen and a watch the President.
We're also going to cut sword for Cheriponi Bunkurugu road. And so we're prioritizing quite a lot of roads in the eastern corridor. Since last year, 2025 and 2026, we have awarded the largest number of road contracts in the history of Ghana since independence. The budget has allocated almost 50 billion cedis to finance the construction of almost 2,000 kilometers of road at the same time. Not in stages, at the same time, all over the country, 2,000 kilometers of roads are being worked on. And every part of the country, every region is getting its fair share of the roads. And so I can assure you, my father, Bimbila and Nanung area would not be left out.
The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The questions still remain. Over funding, execution, and transparency. And now politically, the National Youth Organizer of the NPP, Salam Mustafa, is warning government against what he described as a growing intimidation and targeting of NPP members. His comments are likely to deepen national conversation on the political tolerance, security, and diplomatic space in Ghana. Let's take a listen to him.
And trust me, when the NPP says we'll react, we'll react. Because we are not a small political party. If for nothing at all, in the last election, over 4 million people voted for us. And if you count to our database, we know we have numbers. And if this nonsense doesn't stop, we will weaponize our support base. And we will make this country extremely ungovernable for them. We are sending this warning and caution to government that release Abronye. Otherwise, should anything happen to Abronye in custody, you have us to contend with. And this constant harassment and intimidation of NPP people, if you people don't stop it, we'll make sure that we react in such a way that you will not be happy with us. You have a country to govern, and we are here to support you and give you the best of advice from opposition point of view. If you turn us into enemies, we will give you rebellion. And this, take it from me, if we have to weaponize the entire youth of the NPP, rally behind our entire support base, I promise you, we will. Today, if you are an NPP person, when you wake up, you don't know whether you are the next person on the list. And that these days, when you are going out, you must prepare yourself well. You must have toothpaste, toothbrush, sponge, Milo, Cerelac on you, because you don't know whether you'll be picked up in the next moment. That is the sad reality to be an NPP person in Ghana today. For a judge, in all intents and purposes, to look into the eyes of a fellow man and say, go and lie in detention on remand until your case is determined, beats any reasonable imagination. It is so terrible that no matter how well you want to present it, it still beats imagination. And we're asking, is this the democracy that our forebears fought for? Is this the kind of society we want to build? And we think that as a party, we will not sit by and allow this government to continue to harass, molest, intimidate our members. And we are serving this notice to government that the intimidation must end. And we are damn serious about it. That is why today, on the authority of the flag bearer, the leadership of the party, the leadership of parliament, we are taking upon this step. And that if the harassment, intimidation, persecution, and everything doesn't stop, whatever will happen, nobody should blame us.
So you have the national youth organizer of the New Patriotic Opposition New Patriotic Party, NPP, Salam Mustafa. The phone line is now duly activated as Salam sends warning to government to stop the harassment. On the legal and diplomatic front, Roxanne Dafiameko provided updates. We'll bring you a summary of all what we did tonight. The major political, economic, and legal and environmental issues dominated the national conversation on governments and also opposition voices clash over accountability, governance, and Ghana's economic direction. The former Deputy Finance Minister, DR.STEPHEN Amooah, has defended the NPP economic management record and debate over Ghana's relationship with the IMF. However, the former Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, clarified that Ghana has not fully exited the IMF engagement, explaining that the new Policy Coordination Instrument, PCI, is fresh 3 years economic arrangement focused on reforms and policy monitoring. Hello? PCR. Watch that particular number. On the legal and diplomatic front, Roxanne Nelson Dafiameko has provided updates on the detention of the Ashanti Akim North MP in the Netherlands, a case drawing both political and international attention over parliamentary conduct and diplomatic implications. In the mining sector, and Priso MP is calling for Ghana to take strong ownership and control of its own mineral resources, especially operations involving goldfields, reigniting debate over foreign participation and national benefit from Ghana's natural wealth. Environmentally, NADMO has intensified its crackdown on illegal sand winning as coastal erosion continues to threaten vulnerable communities along the Ghana's coastline, destroying property and raising concerns about long-term environmental protection. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is also defending his infrastructure agenda, highlighting what he described as the largest number of road contracts awarded in recent times as part of efforts to improve development and connectivity across the country. Politically, Salam Mustafa has warned government against what he calls intimidation and targeting of NPP members, escalating concerns over political tolerance and diplomatic space, democratic space, sorry. In another development, and the human rights discussion, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu says detention must never deny an individual access to health care following the controversy surrounding the detention and the welfare of Kwame Boafo Abronye. Doesn't many more tonight's news focus break down the politics, the implication, and then the national impact behind the headlines. Share your thoughts with us now. 0537 158638. 0537 158638 is the numbers also be to me afre actually wadwin stories are churning out and enumerate ya share a fee Ghana owing his own mining ya share a free former defense and finance minister Dr. Stephen Amoaah defending NPP economic management record Kojo Ponkruma and so say Ghana free IMF exit Nemo yedi ensa share BBA friend PCI 3-year fresh 3-year economic arrangement focus on reforms and policy monitoring. If you want to share legal issues are akoso a year asante achim of MPA Nachim our Netherlands Roxanne Nelson the film report MIA updates so far Niama air koso. If you only done any coal mining sector and price of MP air fresh Ghana, you take control of your mining resources, especially gold fields, Senegal, engine free foreigners, the Ghanaians, and Rani Omadie. If you're on a course, sun winning Mori, environmental issue, NADMO, and so a crack it down on illegal sun winning. The president and so. Edina number 2 in competition when they defend the infrastructure, or describe Niama Mudia Guakweme Fano car Quaya Sisino was the largest across the country. Contracts on Mudiama. And you call politics. Salam Mustafa the warning ama a buying say mine shouldn't win ya abroad and more intimidating harassing NPP. Mebuna weaponize and they'll make the country ungovernable. Yes, and you share your human rights and also yet to say abronya home fano and I am Martin Pebunso Case no detention interest obi home fana mano and a hospital of us and cheye and running somewhere you to them a year and the enumerate was news focus and see so be to me at Shawadrin. NTBR, sorry, so I have only 5 minutes to give to my callers, and you can join us 0537 158638 053 715 8638. And numbers are also over to me, and the attribute in common, and enumerate, kono slow, but we're taking it easy with ourselves as we soldier on for God and for country. 053 715 8638 053. I mean, if you say Arsenal fans will be jubilating in the sense that once Arsenal's 22-year wait for the Premier League title is over after rivals City drew at Bournemouth in what is expected to be Pep Guardiola's penultimate game in charge. And Tuesday results on the South Coast leave Mikel Arteta's men 4-point clear of City before the final round of games takes place on Sunday. They were training 4 points. I got 3 points. And to me, lose on my last games, no crana. Not stress. Arsenal winning English Premier League, and that is a story for those of you who loves football. A PCR, Monche set line atutumwa na yanko 053 715 8638. And numbers are also over to me at the Wadinchre Afaso. And enumerate in Comotrichia air cosono also watcher wadi. Banye Otawo ni Okewo Agbasane. 053 715 8638. And numbers no also over to me any attraction komo. And I think it's been a wonderful time being with you on the channel. We have some few more minutes, and then we say goodbye to you. We want to say it's been a wonderful journey. Today is a Tuesday, the 19th day of May 2026, the year of our Lord. Yamin Chadie, Adiasa, sorry, Niako. So if you have any other thing you want to add, Buffer Stock Company says SHS food prices are agreed by stakeholder, denies lack of transparency. The head of corporate affairs at the Ghana National Buffer Stock Company, Emmanuel Atta, has dismissed concern that food is supplied to senior high schools without clear disclosure of pricing to the school authority. He explained that food procurement and pricing for senior high schools followed a structured process involving multiple stakeholders rather than being determined unilaterally by the Buffer Stock Company. Inti almost in the Caribbean, any sasem no no Caribbean, any sasem no. Inti also obe to me afre na ye edi in common. The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has clamped down on management of Anglon West Senior High School, ordering the immediate disbursement of 10,802 to 5 casual workers who were systematically unpaid by the institution. The shipping directives follow a legislative review of the Auditor's General Report, which exposes severe breach of the country's labor and wage laws by the School Administrative Authority. According to the state unit, the 5 temporary employees were subject to an illegal monthly salary of just $250 for a 9-month period during the 2024 fiscal year. The forensic audit detailed that during the period under review, the national statutory baseline requires a minimum monthly remuneration of $490 for casual laborers. By keeping the workers at $250, the school administratively deprived the vulnerable staff nearly half their legal earning. So they've been ordered to pay that money. And I applaud the PAC for doing just that. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also share your thoughts with us. 053-713 053-715-8638 053-715-8638. And your numbers are also over to me. And you are to train come and my enter wonka yentio and yan sorry jumedi so and chibia may beko. I will say bye bye to you as a soldier on for God and for country. Well, it's been no Ebola case in Ghana yet observes safety protocols. The Ministry of Health has clarified that no case of the Ebola virus disease has been recorded in Ghana or elsewhere in West Africa, as the current emergent outbreak is. Apostle Kwejo Safo to be laid to rest on July 30th. Ezra of unchecked hotel fee hikes over rent commissioner. NPP petition diplomatic calls monitor Ghana's human rights situation. While Circuit Court deny bail for Abronye, the full ruling. The judge of Circuit Court 9 has released his ruling remanding the New Patriotic Party Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Boafo, probably known as Abronye DC, into custody, stating his reason ruling that he was satisfied Abronye could commit further offences if granted bail. The ruling, delivered 6 days after the initial decision, has now provided detailed legal grounds for the court refusal to grant bail to the accused person, who is facing charges of offensive conduct conducive to the breach of peace and publication of false news. And according to the court, presided over by His Honor Joseph Yewasong, the decision was anchored on Section 96.5c and D of Act 30, which allowed the denial of bail where there are reasonable grounds to believe an accused may re-offend whilst on release. In the earlier proceedings, Abronya pleaded not guilty after the charges were read and explained to him. His lawyers has urged the court to admit him to bail, arguing that he has already been granted police inquiry bail of 50,000 bond with 2 sureties that honored police invitation and was not a flight risk. The defense further argued that the charges were yet to be proven and that denying bail will infringe on his constitutional rights, including the freedom of expression, whilst citing Article 14 of the 1992 Constitution and the Supreme Court decision in the Martin Pebu versus the Republic. However, prosecutors strongly opposed the application, insisting the accused was already facing a similar charge before another court and that the alleged offense was committed whilst he was on bail. So that is it. Well, and that brings us to the end of the news focus tonight here on MBN. From the debate over Ghana's IMF engagement in economic recovery to the questions surrounding political tolerance, human rights, environmental protection, national development, tonight's discussion reminds us that decisions made today will shape the future of the country tomorrow. We thank you for staying with us and for being part of the conversation. Join us again tomorrow for more in-depth analysis, breaking development, and the stories behind the headlines. On behalf of the entire production team, I am L. Samuels. Have a peaceful night. Stay informed. Stay safe. Good night.
MBN, the gospel, news and entertainment.